For weeks, Caitlin Clark faced discrimination on the court, but the WNBA remained silent. Fans were enraged. Analysts refrained from talking about the issue. Then the silence ended. The NBA's top stars, not the WNBA's. These were not polite shout-outs or statements from the press team. This was an honest, unrestrained voice. Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and others were not only praising her performance, they were shielding her from what they had personally seen. Particularly, Steph had had enough. He watched the blows, heard the silence, and when he did speak, his remarks reverberated across the basketball world. When a famous person like Curry openly challenges Caitlin's usage as a punching bag, everyone takes notice. He was by no means by himself. What were at least 6 NBA in fact. The All-Star said on camera that Caitlin Clark is not a flash in the pan. It is intolerable that a player of her caliber is being unjustly singled out. You may be surprised by some of the uncensored word-for-word responses that some of the biggest players in the NBA have expressed here. NBA players usually exclusively express love to one another. As a result, the majority of people expected Pascal Siakam when asked about Caitlin Clark, the league's smoothest two-way player and All-Star champion, said maybe something safe and superficial. But Pascal did not exercise caution. When asked which player is most loved, he said abruptly, he brought up Caitlin Clark, not only in passing, not as a nice nod, but as someone who, according to him, was equivalent to players in the NBA itself. Oh man, that's no. Caitlin is she's a beast, man. And they love her. So, I'll probably say Caitlin Clark. I love Tyrese, but she's another level in terms of just love. Think about it. He was not comparing her to WNBA players. He was comparing her to Tyrese Halliburton, one of the NBA's most fascinating point guards. Pascal insisted that Caitlin was getting the most love. That goes beyond just adoration. That is an acknowledgement. For those who continue to maintain that the WNBA operates in a vacuum, that serves as a reality check. When someone's name is mentioned in discussions intended for the NBA elite, you may tell that their influence is significant. Siakam could have selected anybody, but he went with Caitlin Clark. It is not a headline. That is a shift. Pascal and the other men are encouraging, and it shows that Caitlin has broken over the invisible barrier dividing leagues. He did not have to say it, but he did, and it tells you everything. Some of Obi-Wan's remarks are ambiguous. Even though he is not renowned for long speeches or dramatic sound bites, his comment on Caitlin Clark jumps out. It lacked polish, but it was honest. And in today's media environment, it has a greater effect than any pre-written PR slogan. Obi plays with energy, flair, and bravado, but his tone changes when he talks about Caitlin Clark. When someone goes above and beyond the box score, you should offer them gratitude rather than simply respect. Yeah, Caitlin's amazing. I'm a super amazing. She's a great player. Having her be courtside and watching our games is awesome. We see the excitement that she has on the sides, but just like she's doing that, we do the same. Like when they're playing it's so much, it's a joy to watch. It is the parody, not the words, that stands out. Caitlin from the WNBA and Obi as equals, not as an afterthought or as subpar. Like NBA players, they celebrate their wins. This reciprocal energy is rare and significant. It is nice to see Caitlin Clark courtside and to know that the NBA players actually care. Saying anything like, oh hey, a celebrity came up, is not enough. It is a sincere appreciation and basketball bond. What Obi stated does not have to become viral. It indicates something more important even though it does not make the news. As a women's basketball player, Caitlin's standing has evolved. She is a hooper. Ignore it. When NBA players start talking about you like you are one of them, you have already joined their world. Giving someone on your squad a cliché is a simple way to cheer them up. She is amazing. Her level of competence is impressive. That kind of stuff. But Tyrese Halliburton made a different decision. He did more than just promote Caitlin Clark since they both reside in the same city. He did not compliment her since it was the right PR move. His proximity to her, his acquaintance with her, and his observation of the daily tempest she has been facing without flinching served as the inspiration for his thoughts. She's I thank you for me getting to actually spend time around her, be around her, get to know her personally. She's just an amazing person, an amazing player. She deals with there's a lot of rhetoric behind her that she really has no control over, and I think that the way she handles that is just amazing. Like I think when it comes to the game of basketball, like she's probably top 5 most famous people Jew that are playing right now just in general. That includes our league. The 5 most famous periods. LeBron, Steph, Jokic, and NBA All-Star Tyrese are discussing Caitlin Clark. Not out of hype, but out of reality. He watches the numbers, the noise of the media, and the passion of the supporters. He knows what it is like to be a franchise representative. Furthermore, he knows that Caitlin is dealing with something much more difficult as a sophomore. Furthermore, his comments lack empathy. He is defending her not only as a player, but also as a person. Tyrese is bringing attention to the mistreatment, coercion, and absurdity she did not want. Caitlin Clark is well prepared. When LeBron James talks instead of just listening, the sports world recalibrates. We look at every word. We look at each delay. When the person who has played basketball for the last 20 years decides to remark, that is what happens. As a result, his criticism of Caitlin Clark was not only playful, it was an enthusiastic suggestion with a deeper meaning, one that pierced through the noise and backlash to get straight to the core of this sporting occasion. Because everybody is looking for you to say anything, and they're going to splice it and cut it and make it a negative thing. And I think for her, the one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch, more people want to tune in. I saw for the first time that they had a chartered plane for the first time in their league history. And I think for her, the one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch, more people want to tune in. I saw for the first time that they had a chartered plane for the first time in their league history. They flew private. That should be celebrated in his own right. LeBron is advocating for both Caitlin Clark and growth in general. He has seen what she has endured. It is a shift in culture rather than just media pressure. He knows what it is like to be the driving force behind a league's choice to go private. That transcends the past. It is a legacy move. He has been there. The bullseye on your back, the expectations and everything else. This might be the reason he sees part of himself in Caitlin. She not only won LeBron's respect, but also his admiration, and that is a completely different kind of praise. It takes a certain amount of confidence to suggest a three-point game against one of the most anticipated shooters in the world. You feel even more confident when you are the one to ask for it. Trae Young enters. Trae, who is renowned for his bold attitude and profound eruptions, has never been timid. But when he talks about Caitlin Clark, his tone shifts a little. Still confident, still playful, but with a distinct note of gratitude. This is more than simply one elite shooter complimenting another. It's a real-time peer recognition of excellence. You were hype about Steph and Sabrina. I know that you have spoken about Caitlin Clark. You're a big Caitlin Clark fan. She, of course, is an excellent shooter. Would you ever do like a Caitlin Trae three-point contest at All-Star? Of course. Of course I would. I've gotten to talk to her, too, throughout our college years. We're the only 2 people that ever led college in points and assists. That's a crazy stat. I'd have to definitely practice a lot more than I have for these previous three-point competitions. Nah, I'd be ready for sure. First off, there have only been 2 players in NCAA history to lead the nation in both assists and points in a single season. The actuality is not enjoyable. In basketball, it is aristocracy. Furthermore, Trae's comments about her are not condescending. It is genuine. It is a sincere tribute to a gifted artist from a different period. He is not behaving like he would win that gunfight. He admits that he would need to do more repetitions. The highest level of difference is that Caitlin participates in more than simply the discussion. She is the topic of discussion. Young is prepared to share the limelight or perhaps engage in a head-to-head match. Paul George is not a fluff artist. He doesn't speak to gain influence. It's to help you see things more clearly. He also shared one of the most perceptive thoughts about Caitlin Clark that we have heard from any NBA player. He did not immediately begin to commend. He did not beat. He zoomed out to give context. In contrast to the highlight video, viral fouls, or all-time shooting statistics that have dominated most conversations about Kate, it is not an insult to Caitlin that acts as a sobering reminder of the cultural shift. Paul George does not even contest her excellence. In fact, by calling her an immediate transformation, he is confirming that But he is also acknowledging something we do not talk about enough: the psychological harm it inflicts on the women who founded the nonprofit, the veterans who played in deserted gyms, advocated for charter flights, and never faced cameras. They put forth just as much effort, but they did not reap the same rewards as Caitlin. It stings when someone enters and becomes the league's face right away, even if she earned it. Paul George humanized the hostility, but did not defend it. And in doing so, he showed us how profound this moment was. Caitlin is more than the main attraction. She is the center of a shift that has an impact on everyone. Luka Doncic shares his ideas and aspirations. If you have seen him play or talk, you can tell he is straightforward. Specifically, who's your favorite women's basketball player? Caitlin Clark. Really? Yeah. You like Paige Buchers? She's okay. I didn't see her playing the women's NBA. That pivot is not a shadow. It is a typical setting. It was clear that Luka did not downplay Paige's abilities. Caitlin Clark is now doing it on a professional level. That is what matters. She is more than simply college buzz or a height. Luka already sees her as that player. From a distance, he had seen the blows continue. He saw the league's continued silence. Steph Curry, one of basketball's most well-known speakers, decided it was time to speak. His comments were not only in favor of Caitlin Clark. They sent a message to everyone in attendance. I'm sick of watching Caitlin getting attacked. If the league doesn't step up and protect her, things are going to get ugly real fast. It was more than help. That was a warning shot. You know, when Steph yells like that, everyone in the league and spectators need to pay attention. But Steph was far from done. After denouncing Caitlin's treatment, he went one step further. He analyzed her game with a degree of precision that only he could provide, emphasizing her range, timing, and reckless manner that made him consider himself. As he said it, you could hear the reverence in his voice. I saw somebody break down the release time, which is pretty much identical to mine. And then her just confidence. Obviously, you can't help but watch when she plays, where she's shooting from, the range, the confidence, the flair. Like, she's a performer. It's crazy though just 'cause her shot is it's like that. It's at that level, but if you really watch her floor game is as impressive. So, it's kind of the total package. Listen to it again. Steph Curry, the greatest shooter in NBA history, has said that Caitlin's shooting is similar to his. That is not media gibberish. From the summit of the mountain, it is reverence. But what makes the remark even better? He survived the shooting. He called her a performer. He emphasized the floor game and the nuances that casual spectators miss. But real hoopers see the court's perspective, the passing, and the feel. Everything is already there. It is not only Steph who finds Caitlin Clark's game appealing. It impresses him. That is not the same. That is especially rare because it is not a shout-out when the man who changed basketball forever says, "You have got the total package." It is the transfer of the torch. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words. It was overwhelming to hear Jason Tatum's silence. The legendary Celtics player was asked one of the simplest questions ever. Which WNBA player is your favorite? An excellent opportunity to support the cause, give recognition to the lady who has become the league's face, and say what so many other celebrities have already said. But instead of even acknowledging Caitlin Clark, Tatum gave a straightforward deadpan reply. That is all. Caitlin's acts were dismissed without any explanation, background information, or compassion. To be clear, Wilson has won many tournaments and is a well-respected, powerful player. But this has nothing to do with treating Aya disrespectfully. It was about ignoring Caitlin Clark, the lone athlete who has changed the financial scene, supported the league, and made attending WNBA games a ritual. Tatum, one of the top stars in the NBA, likewise chose to act as if she did not exist. Nothing at all, not even respect or a shout-out. It is upsetting and embarrassing since Caitlin is not asking for bogus love. She deserves it. She has taken more knocks than any athlete should. She continues to perform, show up, and manage the issue with elegance despite being left off Team USA and having her name mentioned in the media. After all of that, Jason Tatum could not even say her name. How could he? This was not a missed opportunity. It was a proclamation. Whether intentionally or not, the moment sent a message. What you're doing does not bother me. And Caitlin Clark has experienced the same type of subtle disdain all season long. She is inspiring even the celebrities. The biggest microphone in basketball belongs to Kevin Durant. In every tweet, remark, and podcast appearance, he is conscious of the consequences of his words. When KD was asked to choose his favorite female athlete, Caitlin Clark, the whole sports community excitedly anticipated his answer. Instead, he dropped another one. Hey, respond with a single phrase without hesitation or nuance. All of a sudden, KD's decision was clear. Nor was it Caitlin. Let us be honest. This was not a coincidence. This was a choice. Caitlin Clark has been the year's greatest sports story. She is breaking viewership records, selling out arenas, and bringing attention to a league that has been ignored for many years. She has maintained her composure in the face of fouling, mockery, reprimands, and exclusion from the Olympic squad. She is doing something that no one has ever done. And Kevin Durant did not just ignore her. He went out of his way to highlight her primary rival in the media. That is not help. A smack in the face. That is a mediocre player is Angel Reese. That is undeniable. But when Caitlin has been carrying the WNBA's visibility night after night, how can you take into account all of her achievements and then deliberately choose the player who has received the most criticism? Angel Reese was not quite as good as Caitlin Clark. How could he? This was not an honest decision. It was a subliminal "I am not with her" moment from a guy who knows how the media works. And it was a power play. And instead of just dismissing Caitlin's impact, Durant undermined it by doing this. Because when a player with KD's level of impact overlooks the greatest story in basketball, it does not go ignored. It confirms the precise resistance Caitlin has encountered from the start. Furthermore, if you're not supporting her while she is carrying this much weight, you are adding to the problem. This is no longer just noise. When NBA players start talking openly, passionately, and on camera, it is an indication that something real is happening. Caitlin Clark did more than only initiate conversations. She is making the league uncomfortable in the greatest manner imaginable. Caitlin Clark's current power is that she is not only a performance. She is the player that pushes decisions, responses, and clarity in a society where safe answers and murky areas are common. Pascal Siakam said that she is more loved than his own colleague. In her performance, Steph Curry acknowledged himself. LeBron James praised her accomplishments thus far. Chartered aircraft, packed venues, and massive viewing surges. She is currently one of the top 5 basketball celebrities according to Tyrese Halliburton. Nor is that hyperbole. That is the reality. Then there is Luka choosing her over Paige. Trae Young is prepared to fight. Obi gave a fangirl smile. Paul George ended disrespect with just 3 words. But Tatum keeps things brief, and Durant's choice was a powerful statement. The NBA has differing opinions about Caitlin Clark. Maybe that is the idea because excellence does not inspire neutrality. It provokes genuine, unvarnished reactions. And there is no longer any question about Caitlin's greatness. No one in this league has ever done what she is doing, attracting audiences comparable to those at NBA games and receiving the kind of adulation and criticism that only superstars receive. That's legacy, not noise. The most terrifying thing is that she's only getting started to ensure you do not miss anything. Please leave your opinions in the comments box. Subscribe and turn on all alerts. Once you click the video on the screen, we will see you in the next.